The rain on planet Xylos doesn't wash things clean. It makes them heavy. The mud clings to your boots like magnetic paste. The gravity is 1.2 times Earth standard. For most species, this is a death sentence. For the Krell assassin, Vruk, it was just an annoyance. Vruk is a masterpiece of genetic engineering. He is 7 feet of chitin and muscle. His legs are reversed jointed, designed for explosive speed. He can sprint at 80 kilometers per hour. He can jump 4 meters vertically. He is the perfect killing machine. 3 days ago, Vruk assassinated a human diplomat in the colony sector. It was a clean kill. He breached the perimeter, eliminated the target, and vanished into the jungle before the guards even raised their rifles. He had a 20-minute head start. In galactic terms, a 20-minute head start for a Krell is infinite. No bipedal species can close that gap. Vruk ran for 4 hours straight, putting 300 kilometers between him and the colony. He found a cave. He ate his rations. He slept, confident that he had ghosted the entire human security force. But 6 hours later, he woke up. Not because of a noise, but because of a smell. Synthetic fabric, gun oil, sweat. He looked out of the cave. Standing in the clearing, looking at a datapad, was a human. Not a squad, not a mech. Just one human in a wet poncho holding a kinetic rifle. Vruk didn't understand. How? The math was impossible. Vruk didn't stay to ask. He panicked. He exploded out of the cave, shredding the foliage, sprinting away at maximum velocity. He left the human behind in seconds. He ran until his glycol-based muscles burned with lactic acid. He ran until his 3 hearts were hammering against his ribs. He put another 100 kilometers between them. He told himself it was a fluke, a lucky patrol. He was safe now. He wasn't. This is the story of why the galaxy fears the walkers. Let's talk about physiology. The Krell are built for the ambush. They are sprinters. Their muscles are like loaded springs, incredibly powerful, but they generate massive amounts of heat. A Krell can fight like a demon for 10 minutes, but then it must rest. It must cool down. Its biology requires a downtime cycle to flush toxins from its blood. Humans are different. Humans are biological paradoxes. We have no claws. We have no armor. We are soft, squishy bags of water. But we have 2 things the galaxy doesn't understand: sweat glands and spite. A human doesn't need to stop to cool down. We are water-cooled engines. We vent heat while we move. We are the only species that can run a marathon, vomit, and keep running. Vruk ran for 2 days. Every time he stopped to rest, to let his agonizing muscles recover, it would happen. Sometimes it took an hour, sometimes 4. But eventually, he would hear it. Crunch, squelch, crunch. The rhythmic, terrifying sound of bipedal footsteps in the mud. The human never ran. Vruk never saw him sprint. The human was always just walking. A steady, mechanical, soul-crushing pace. 4 kilometers an hour. Every hour. Of every day. Vruk tried to be clever. He doubled back through a swamp. The water was toxic, filled with leeches. It burned Vruk's chitin. He suffered through it, wading for miles to hide his scent. He climbed a cliff face, shredding his claws on the granite. He hid in the canopy of the trees. He watched from a high branch, shivering, exhausted, his energy reserves depleted. Below him, the human appeared. The human didn't look at the tracks. He looked at the broken twigs. He looked at the disturbed moss on the rocks. He looked at the heat signature on his scanner. The human didn't stop at the swamp. He waded in, chest deep, weapon held high. He didn't stop at the cliff. He threw a grapple line and began to climb. He wasn't hunting Vruk. He was haunting him. By the fourth day, Vruk was hallucinating. His vision was blurring. His glycol levels were critical. Every step sent a jolt of agony through his legs. He was the apex predator of the Orion arm, and he was being dismantled by a hairless ape in a poncho. The psychological horror of the pursuit-predation strategy is not about violence. It is about the removal of hope. The alien knows it is faster. It knows it is stronger. But it also knows that it has to sleep. And the thing chasing it doesn't. On the fifth day, Vruk stopped. He was in a valley of black shale. There was no cover, no water. He couldn't run anymore. His legs simply refused to receive the signals from his brain. He collapsed, his massive chest heaving, yellow foam dripping from his mandibles. He checked his chrono. He had maybe 20 minutes before the walker arrived. He unholstered his plasma pistol, but his hands were shaking so bad he dropped it. He didn't pick it up. There was no point. Even if he killed this human, another one would come. They are a hive mind of endurance. He waited, and then he saw him. The human crested the ridge. He was a mess. His uniform was torn. He was covered in mud, blood, and swamp slime. He walked with a limp. He looked like he had been dragged through a grinder. But he was still moving. The human didn't rush. He didn't raise his rifle and scream. He didn't celebrate. He just walked down the slope, sliding on the loose shale. He stopped 10 meters from the collapsed alien. Vruk looked up. He expected hate. He expected anger. But the human just took a canteen from his belt and took a long drink of water. He wiped his mouth. He looked at Vruk with eyes that were sunken, red-rimmed, and dead inside. "You run good," the human rasped. His voice was like sandpaper. "Made me work for it." Vruk tried to speak, to beg, to curse. All that came out was a wheeze. "What? Are you?" The human checked the charge on his rifle. "Sergeant Kovich, 4th Ranger Battalion." "Why?" Vruk gasped. "Why didn't you stop?" Kovich looked at the horizon, then back at the alien. "Because you killed a diplomat, and my commanding officer said, 'Go get him,' so I came and got you. It was that simple. No warrior code, no blood oath, just a job." Vruk closed his eyes. He realized the mistake the galaxy had made. They thought war was about who had the biggest gun or the fastest ship. But war is just a contest of who is willing to suffer the most. And humans have an infinite capacity for suffering. The sergeant raised his rifle. "Get up!" Vruk couldn't. "I said get up. I'm not carrying you back." And somehow, terrified by the sheer impossibility of the creature standing before him, Vruk stood up. They walked back. It took 7 days. The human walked behind him the whole way. When Vruk stumbled, the human waited. When Vruk collapsed, the human kicked his boot. "Move." When they finally reached the colony perimeter, the guards were stunned. They saw a 7-foot monstrosity, the galaxy's deadliest assassin, broken and weeping, being herded like cattle by a human who looked like he had died 3 days ago and forgot to fall down. The medical officer rushed to Sergeant Kovich. "Sergeant, you need a stretcher. Your vitals are critical. You have dehydration, 3 fractured ribs, and chemical burns." Kovich pushed the medic away. He sat down on a crate and began to unlace his boots. His feet were bleeding. "I'm fine," Kovich grunted. "Just need a sandwich and a nap. Then I have to fill out the paperwork." The galaxy tells stories about the Krell. They tell stories about the Silax dreadnoughts. They speak of them with fear and awe. But when they tell stories about humans, they don't speak of awe. They speak of the creeping dread, the monster that moves at 4 kilometers an hour, the monster that doesn't need to be faster than you. It just needs to be there when you fall. So if you anger a human, don't run. It's a waste